Vanessa Gelman, a senior director at Pfizer, we got her emails, and she says in the emails that she's lying to her customers about what's in the vaccine. Again, this is Pfizer now, not me. Pfizer.
In the recent video that I saw, an FDA official says, and I'm quoting here, almost $1 billion a year goes into the FDA budget, comes from pharmaceutical companies. Now, this is a clear conflict of interest. I thought that the FDA government agencies are funded by the government. But according to this individual, they get billions of dollars a year directly from drug companies to support their investigation of drugs.
That's right.
Now, how can they honestly and even-handedly investigate drugs that are made by these drug companies if they're getting paid by the drug companies?
Well, that's a great rhetorical question. Similar to your question, how can a journalist have a fiduciary duty to a subject he investigates? These are profoundly rhetorical questions because there is no answer to that, which is why the investigative expose was so devastating. This was a guy named Christopher Cole at the Food and Drug Administration admitting the flow of money from pharmaceutical companies into the FDA. And I believe, and again, my memory, I don't have the transcript in front of me, but I'm going to paraphrase him. He was also talking about a vaccine for young children, I believe 5 years old. And he says it's all but approved. In other words, he admitted the rubber stamping of this vaccine. And I can't,
which he then goes on to talk about how much revenue that approval of the vaccine to young people will turn into revenue for the drug companies.
Correct. That was in the winter of this past year. And again, I'm sitting here, I want to make it clear that nothing I'm about to say is for or against. I'm not going to take a position because I don't believe in that. I believe in quoting them. Mm-hmm. This is what they're saying.
It's their position. Right.
I'm talking about the FDA and Pfizer.
Right.
This is coming on the heels, Dr. Bob, of 3 investigations we did into Pfizer. Vanessa Gelman, a senior director at Pfizer, we got her emails. And she says in the emails that she's lying to her customers about what's in the vaccine. Again, this is Pfizer now, not me. Pfizer. Another guy, I forgot his name. We recorded him, a scientist for Pfizer, PhD, biochemistry. Mm-hmm. And he says that this is a Pfizer scientist. I'm quoting a Pfizer scientist just so for the censors out there. He goes, your antibodies are stronger than our own vaccine. PhD, biochemistry, Pfizer Pharmaceutical. And what happens? I get banned from Twitter. I get censored on Instagram. You can't tag James O'Keefe because he's promoting disinformation. Well, then I guess the PhD in biochemistry from Pfizer is promoting disinformation. Right. And again, I'm not taking a position.
You're just reporting on it.
It's my obligation as an investigative reporter to tell people what the public must know. Yeah. And by the way, what's his employment status? And Pfizer is a very powerful company. So then, again, you can't make this stuff up. Truth is stranger than fiction. Tom Fitton at Judicial Watch, you know who he is?
Sure.
Tom Fitton gives me a call. And he goes, this happened, I believe, since I last saw you. He goes, James, you're not going to believe this. I said, what? I said, we submitted a FOIA request, the Department of Justice, to find out if there were any communications between Pfizer and the FBI. And there have been some. Ooh. And they got this letter from the Department of Justice that identified records that Pfizer was talking to the FBI about me. Now, what business does Pfizer have with the FBI about me?
Right.
So this is the most.
They want to shut you up.
These are the most powerful companies in the world.
Right. They're in cahoots with the government and against the truth.
And I mean, people say, well, O'Keefe, you're a right-wing activist. Okay, is Pfizer left-wing? Is the FBI left-wing? Is CNN left-wing? Is the New York Times left-wing? Our tech? I mean, when did that happen? Mm-hmm. This is not about ideology anymore. It's about power. You talk about money coming from pharmaceutical companies to the FDA, to government agencies. Who's reporting on this?
Mm-hmm. And what about Fauci and many other administration officials who hold stock in those companies?
That's even crazier. And Fauci, another story we did on Fauci since I saw you was this business about the Wuhan approvals. A source came to us from the Pentagon, and leaked us a document about gain of function research,
Right.
and this
which evidently the U.S. paid. It wasn't hundreds of millions, but it was millions of dollars into Wuhan.
well, according to this source, they gave us a document showing a Marine working at DARPA, a division of the Department of Defense, that Fauci pushed gain of function research despite the Defense Department's objections to it. This is a letter.
Despite that it's illegal in the United States, which is why I think that Fauci was funding it in China. It's against the law to perform that kind of
and we
DNA
published
work
this
in the
story,
US.
and Fauci was called to testify and mentioned Project. I'm going to imitate him. Project Veritas under oath, being mentioned by name by Fauci was quite surreal. But there's a greater issue, Dr. Bob, which is broader. It's that Veritas is doing investigative reporting, which is different than what the quote-unquote journalists are doing at these publications like the Washington Post. What they do is give you